What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a special Thanksgiving edition of the PHDJ podcast with Joe Bunn and my man, Mike Walter.
How are you, Joe?
I'm great, man. Full disclosure, everybody, we did have to pre-record this, but first and foremost, this is coming out, right, Mike, on Thanksgiving Day.
Well, I don't know. Should we drop it Thanksgiving Day or the day before? This probably should have been a conversation we had before we went on air. But I don't know. Should we drop it we are known for our Thursday. So should we just schedule it for Thanksgiving?
We're scheduling it for
You're going to have to promote it because the reason we're pre-recording is I am away on vacation Thanksgiving week. And Kelly and I, if we drop it Thanksgiving, we will actually be in Cabo. What is it? Cabo San Lucas? I don't even know. Cabo. Yes, we're leaving on a boat from Los Angeles on the Tuesday of that week. And we get to Cabo, I think, Thursday morning. We spend the whole day, and I think we leave Friday morning. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Our first beach vacation in a while. We had that epic trip to Iceland earlier this year. We didn't do a lot of bathing suits, swim. Well, we did in the hot pots, but not a lot of beaches. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Have a great time for sure.
Thank you.
Well, so we wanted to touch on a couple of just quick topics. You know, Mike is really good at he and I are both in several Facebook groups, and we obviously post from time to time, and especially if I need help, I'll post in something, or if somebody needs help, I'll post a quick answer if I have one. But we often come across things that we think are good topics for the PHDJ podcast, and I believe,
whether they're full episodes or sometimes we just throw like a potpourri together. We've got some shorter topics that we don't want to blabber on for a whole half hour about.
That's correct.
Yeah.
There's no need to stretch just for the sake of the show. So we saw that somebody had posted. I don't think there's any necessary reason to call this guy out. But
I don't even remember. Do you have specifically?
I'm looking at it
post.
Okay. Yeah. But it was in it was, we don't need to call him out.
No, don't do that.
It was in a group called Mobile DJ Community. I don't even know that I am a member of that group, quite frankly. I guess I should be. The guy says, I ran into a small problem last night while setting up for tonight's wedding. The hall has no Wi-Fi and phones nor iPads pick up reception to do a hotspot. Luckily, the hall has a garage door so bands and DJs can load equipment in and out, and I set up by it, put my iPad in my vehicle, and was able to hotspot that way. My question is there anything I can get that will boost the iPad to get a better signal?
And so the assumption here is that he streams music during his events? Is that because why else would you need,
The only reason I ever need a hotspot is if I get put on the spot by the father of the bride that wants a 1950-something Sinatra song that I don't have, and I can pull it out of the cloud and play it, next.
Yeah, but even then, you're much better off downloading it, buying it, downloading it to your iPhone, and then putting your iPhone in Do Not Disturb or airplane mode, and then playing it that way. That is the better way to do it. That is the and by the way, that is the $1.29 solution. Some songs are 99 cents nowadays, but some songs will set you back $1.29. So that is the proper way to do it. So yeah, I mean, in that situation, and first of all, I can't believe anybody streams. My heart races. So if I look on iTunes or Amazon and I can't download the song, maybe it's just then the last resort is YouTube.
Yep.
And even then, I mean, I watch as that, as you can see how far it's gone out. Sure. And if that little icon ever starts getting close to the buffer, I mean, my heart just starts racing. Yeah. I couldn't imagine getting through an entire gig that way. I couldn't do it. So I don't care how strong the Wi-Fi is. I mean,
I'm the same way, Mike. I mean, I've bought, even the little hotspot box from Verizon. I mean, I've got one of these stuck in my bag now, but again, there's at no point in my career have I ever streamed music. We've talked about this ad nauseum, like the cocktail hour or the dinner hour. If I'm in the same room as where those are going on, I'm actually DJing. Now, if I have some kind of a remote speaker somewhere, sometimes I might have to autopilot it if it's outside on a porch or something.
Right.
But dinner especially.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What kind of a laptop do you use? Mac or PC?
Yeah, MacBook.
So do you even have the Wi-Fi on when you're at an event?
Don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I mean, I have 2 laptops.
Yeah.
The one that not my main laptop, I go to it as I open up Serato and I turn my Wi-Fi off. I don't know if it would ever affect anything whatsoever, but I've heard some people say halfway through their gig their Mac forced an upload or whatever the update. So if your Wi-Fi is off, that can't happen. Yeah. I don't even keep. Now my second laptop, I might keep my Wi-Fi on that. I know I don't know. I put up a couple pictures, so it's not like I was hiding it. A few weeks ago during the World Series, I was actually watching the World Series. Not that I was glued to it, but I had it on.
Yeah.
And, my justification of that is there's plenty of times when there's a big game going on that somebody will come up and say, hey, do you know the score of the Dodgers? Yeah, I do. I happen to know it right here. I'm up to date on it. But I might do that on the backup laptop, but I don't even put the Wi-Fi on the main laptop. I take it off.
That was one of the things I remember early Serato users saying, you shut down everything. Like I'll close out every app, I turn off the Wi-Fi, and I run Serato on that one. And
that's it. Yeah.
And honestly, the hotspot and that computer would only, be fired up if I got stumped. And it would have to be a VIP that would stump me,
And that's the reason why I have that second laptop. I had that this week. I got a request for a song that I didn't have, and this place had Wi-Fi. My backup laptop, I downloaded the song on that. I have Serato on that, so I just switched over to, once I had it downloaded, I switched over to that channel, and I played it off of that laptop. I would never do that with my main laptop at a gig, and that's not because something has ever happened in that scenario. I just wouldn't want to risk it happening.
So you're saying though, Mike, did you actually play it off the aux jack of that backup laptop?
No, I have that second laptop plugged into, because with my mixer, I have 2 USB inputs. So I have that second laptop already queued. So if anything happens with my main laptop, it will be 20 seconds before I can switch to that backup, because it's already fired up. Serato's open, blah, blah, blah. So yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
So again, people, I just highly, highly, highly recommend that you own this music, buy the music.
I would like to think that anybody who's professional enough to be listening to our podcast, following us, I would like to think those. Now, I could be naive. Some people are probably laughing and saying, Mike, are you kidding yourself? I'd like to think that level of professionalism is beneath us. I know that sounds horrible, but I don't think people who are following this podcast are that unprofessional that they're streaming their music during an event.
I'll be honest though, it's coming. Serato is already in fact, it's has launched or is about to launch in combination with 2 or 3 streaming services.
So like Spotify, but Spotify has a function where you can download the songs. Correct. I don't know if download is the correct, but
they call it download or offline. Okay. Offline is what they call
it. Okay. So that if you need a dozen songs from Spotify, you're not relying on your Wi-Fi or a hotspot. You've offlined those songs and then played them.
Yep.
If that's your workaround, I think it's fine. Personally, I think you should own every song, either have it reside on your hard drive or on a separate hard drive, but it should not be anywhere cloud-based, in my opinion.
So, second part of the little potpourri here, that's appropriate for Thanksgiving, potpourri.
There you go. Yes, it is. Cornucopia. Right?
The cornucopia, that's what it is, yeah. Hey, Mike, I have a question for you. I just listened to your set you posted. I'm not sure what mix that was, but I usually listen to them as well. He said, great set. Anyway, why do you play some songs all the way through, some almost all the way, and some to the break? I think a podcast discussion could be, when do you mix out and why? And then he says, I often mix out early and get the what the F are you doing look, but I keep on trying. Maybe not at the same event, but I do sometimes. I can't wait to hear or read your reasoning.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten a what the hell are you doing? Why did you mix out of that song so soon? I have you?
Yeah, for sure.
You have?
Yeah. No, I mean, not
Maybe
often, but maybe
I'm just ignorant to when people are giving me dirty looks. But I don't know that I ever have.
Or maybe I just maybe it wasn't a good blend, or the pitch, the key
I
was off.
I didn't want to insult you or the gentleman who asked this question, but maybe that had to do with the fact that I'd like to think when I'm mixing out of songs, it's not that obvious.
Same.
So maybe that has something to do with it. But yeah, I read this question and I told the guy, you know what, we'll talk about that on a future podcast. So there's a number of different reasons why I might mix out of a song early and why I might not. Mm-hmm. One of the main ones is if it is a bride's request, I don't want to play just a minute. I want to play more than that, especially if she's on the dance floor. If she's on the dance floor enjoying her song, she's going to get to hear at least 2/3 of that song. She's going to get to hear verse, chorus, and then maybe at the break, because if you've ever looked at the way most dance songs are structured, that's often how they're structured. Mm-hmm. Verse, chorus, break or bridge, and then sometimes a third verse, sometimes just a repeat of the chorus. Mm-hmm. So that break or bridge is a natural spot to mix out. So if it's a bride's request and she's on the dance floor enjoying it, she's going to hear at least that part. Mm-hmm. But if it's not, and if it hasn't gone over too well, then that's when I'll probably go verse, chorus, and then get out at that first chorus. Yeah. So when you listen to my mixes or anybody else's, I'm sure if you listen to Jason Janai's mixes or something like that, there's times when you're hearing 2.5 minutes of a song, mm-hmm. and there's times when you're hearing 1 minute of a song. Those are probably the two main reasons. Would you answer the question similarly?
I think I'd answer it differently for different things. So I think the quick mix, the super quick mix, minute and a half of a song is what I'm going to be doing in a mixtape or, DJ live mix that I'm making here at the office or in my house or you in your basement. I'm going to do that a little bit differently, obviously, than I'm doing an event where I'm actually looking up from the laptop, like what's going on? Are people heading for the exits during this song? I got to dump it. So that's usually my first, if you hear me quick mix, if I recorded a set live, which I don't do nearly as often as you do, but and I think that's what this guy's referring to. I think it was from a wedding or something.
Yes, it was. It wasn't one of my that I make down here in the basement.
Yeah,
it was. I had posted one from a wedding. I think it was from
set.
Friday. From well, I shouldn't say because we're pre-recording this, but I think it was from my wedding this past Friday night.
I think you're right.
And yeah, there were a number of times where I let a song ride, and then there were a couple times where I got out early. So he did notice that, and he asked about it. And yeah those are the other last answer I have is if I get to 20 minutes left in the party and I'm like, oh shit, I still got 7 requests to get to.
That was
then you might hear me, burn. I can, you burn. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Which, listen, I think people on the dance floor would rather you burn because that it goes back to our shorter attention span nowadays.
I was going to say the same
Most songs, people have that initial I love this song. And then a minute later, they're on their phone. So if you can give them that I love this song moment more often in a night, then why wouldn't you do it?
I've even gotten that I rarely get the, sorry, hit the mic. Like the cut from anybody, but I hate that. But I have seen like a bridesmaid or something.
I want to go to their job. I want to find out what their career is. I want to go to their job and stand in front of their desk or the fryer that they work at and give them the cut sign. Yes,
too much salt.
There's not a lot of things I don't like about this career, but that or even the thumbs down.
Oh yeah. But that speed up symbol, like they'll hit that kind of like. Next song, and I'm like, you nosy rat. Let me do my job. But I'm the same way, Mike. I think it really depends on a lot of things. Attention span. Is the song working? Is the song still a hot, ticket? Regardless of the age. I mean, we just talked about in a previous episode how big still is for us. I mean, I still play damn near all of it. I mean, most Saturdays I'll play almost the whole song to the point where, that whole end part. Take that, rewind it back, something. Right. Anyway, so it's a hard question to answer. But
let me ask you this, Joe: Are you ever aware of the time of the night? Does that affect your programming? This is more of a programming question than a mixing section. Question,
in terms of like it's 9:30 and this event only goes till 10 kind of thing, like. Am I looking at my watch?
Here's one of the main reasons I heard Jim Cerrone say this once, and Jim he has a radio background,
Yeah,
and he talked about how the top of the hour is always very important, and he related it to people at an event. You know, if you're at a wedding that's 7 to 11, you might as the time approaches 10 o'clock, you might start thinking, "Hey, honey, do you want to get out of here, or do you want to stick around to the end?" And so Jim said he's very cognizant at that as he approaches that top of the hour to make sure the dance floor is really, really packed and he's playing some of his best stuff. Because if you have that conversation with nobody says, "Hey, it's 10:20. Do you want to get out of here?" Most people do that as the clock, as a new hour arrives. And I remember hearing Jim say that, and I've always had it kind of in the back of my mind. Sometimes I consider it, sometimes I don't. I think I consider it, especially when a party ends on a half hour, which it's funny that something so small affects me. I hate when a party ends on a half hour. I'm so much more used to, a party ending at the top of an hour.
Yeah.
I just have to, there's so many times during the night where I have to recalculate my math. Like, oh shit, we only have 30 minutes left in a night. Not an hour or whatever. But I think in that, like if it's a 6:30 to 10:30 party, as 10 o'clock approaches, I hear Jim Cerrone's voice and I think, oh yeah, I want to keep these people for that last hour.
Right.
I need to make sure the 5 minutes before 10 and the 5 minutes after are peak, great, recognizable dance songs. I mean, I'm going to aim for that anyway in the last half hour of a party, but I think I'm more cognizant of that than ever because I don't want people looking at their watches or phones nowadays and saying, yeah, let's get out of here.
Interesting.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've never heard. I mean, I know Jim well, and I know his background, and it makes sense now that you're saying it. But no, I think I'm just kind of like you. Like I know when the party's over, and I kind of do the math about how many songs I have left, and what does this need to kind of hit more peaks and valleys, or do I just need to go hard for this next 30
Yeah, I
minutes?
think we talked about this a while back, and a few people commented that it was a great suggestion. When you get to that hour before the end or 40 minutes before the end, you have to make a decision at some point.
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to keep this dance set going till the end, or am I going to need to slow down, reset, and then crank it back up? And you want to make that decision with 40 minutes left in the night and not 20. Because if you clear it at 20, it's too short to reset. Slow song and then reset for the last 15 minutes isn't going to work. So if you're ending at 11, you at 10:15 and 10:20, that's when you really need to be evaluating your dance floor and thinking, man, am I going to be able to keep these people for the last 40, or do I need to reset now and then have a killer last half hour? So that's experience and programming, and who knows, it's subjective. If you make one decision, you don't know if you would have been right the other way. But I think that's a very important programming decision that we all have to make.
It's huge, and it comes with experience and learning and doing a lot of shows. It's one of those things that's hard to teach. Well, I feel like we'll wrap this episode up, this Thanksgiving edition, maybe saying a few things we're thankful for. And
I think that's a good idea.
I'll go first since I'm the host this week, if that's okay with you.
You go for it.
I mean, always, and I'm sure I probably said the same thing if you listen back to last year's Thanksgiving episode. Always probably going to say the most thankful for my family. You know what I mean? It's just I think you and I are so lucky and blessed that our parents are still alive. That to me is a blessing. I've always had a good relationship with my folks. My sister, although she lives in Montana, I don't get to see her nearly enough, but that's going to be the closest. And then of course, my wife and kids, that will always be my same answer year to year. Hands down, without a doubt, just thankful for this career and that I've been able to do this for 30 some years now. And I've told my DJs repeatedly, every time we have a meeting, I tell them, the group we currently have is the best group I've ever had. I mean, we've had some guys that were a little bit cancerous to the organization. You'd have your monthly meeting and there'd be somebody sulking in the corner, and it kind of throws.
And you'd almost hope that guy didn't show, right?
100%.
I've had guys like that in the company, and you got to get them out. It's just not worth it.
It's not. Yeah. They would be great on set when they got to the show, but they brought the whole chi of the group down, man, and it was terrible. And finally, and not to be patronizing, but I'm thankful for you and our friendship and the ability to help other DJs and do this podcast and the workshop and write articles. And I just think that it wasn't just a happenstance that you and I met years ago. I mean, I think there was a reason that we connect on this level.
Yeah, I often think back to that. I remember you calling me about doing this workshop, and I know you had a bigger idea in mind, and then you realized it wasn't going to come together, and you were like, let's pare it down and just do this. And I specifically remember that phone call, so I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, I mean, family first and foremost. Like you said, I'm blessed to have my parents.
Yeah.
My 3 siblings. We're still very close. We're actually, my mom turns 70. I hope isn't offended that I said that. Or actually 75. No,
I was about to say, your mom's
turned 75.
Yeah.
This December, and we're all going away for a weekend. So wish us luck.
Yes.
This will be the first my mom's birthday is the 30th. And so we've rented a house upstate for the weekend, and we are going to be together on New Year's Eve.
Woo!
My parents and all 4 of us together for the first time in, I'd have to guess, about 40 years, because my older brother Mark left for college when I was 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably close to 40 years that we've all been together on New Year's Eve. It's going to be kind of wild and hopefully a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
But family first and foremost. You and I are blessed both to have fantastic wives who are not just beautiful but supportive of what we do and help us and everything else. You got the kids, I got the dogs, and thankful they're part of the family. My company is something I worked hard to build, but yeah, it affords me the lifestyle that I have, and I'm always grateful for my staff. And like yourself, I feel like my staff has never been stronger and better and more cohesive. Many of them were at the book release party this past Monday night, so I got to see so many of them and spend some quality social time with them. So that's fun. And then, I'm so grateful to be connected with so many people in this industry who have helped me get better, and who I've also had the opportunity to help better. I mean, our relationship is a perfect example. Randy Bartlett, Big Daddy. I mean, I don't want to start naming people because I'm going to forget, but everybody from Marcello, everybody that I'm connected with at Think Tank and our graduates, the PHDJ graduates, there's a synergy there where people, we talk about the business, but we also talk about our personal lives. Where does the friendship end and the networking begin? It doesn't exist. I mean, these relationships are just something that enhance your life. And it's one of the reasons why I'm so grateful. Years ago, I started going to conventions and meeting people outside of my company, because I wouldn't know people like yourself. I wouldn't be best friends with Marcello and, such great friends with so many other people. I wouldn't have those friendships if I didn't get on a plane and actually go. So that's something, if you're on the fence about it, I'd recommend you do it, because
100%.
you will create amazing relationships. And then finally, and this is one of those things you and I both have and we work towards as well, I'm grateful for my health. And it's something at 52, it's a combination, and I'm well aware that health is a combination of decisions that you make and DNA. There are certain things you can do to help avoid illnesses and obesity and things like that. But then also some people just got unlucky and got dealt, a bad hand. And I'm grateful that I didn't get the bad, hand, but I'm also grateful that I've got the determination to, I did a 4-miler this morning before we went on the air, because I needed to get my run in, and, that kind of focus. But I'm grateful for that, because at 52, I still feel, I know a lot of guys my age who have kind of retired to the couch of doom, and I still want to stay active and stay fit and be in it, and it takes a little work. I'm grateful for all that.
Same here.
Yeah,
we obviously thank you guys really for listening. We're coming up on episode 100. In fact, next week it is a big deal. Episode 100 will be the next episode, and you will be getting a special episode. I promise you. So it's a big deal for us. It's a big deal that you guys are still listening after a year and a half now, Mike?
Year and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Well, close to 2 years.
Damn,
it'll be 2 in January.
That's right. So almost 2 years you guys have been listening to us talk about this crazy industry we call mobile DJing, and we appreciate y'all. We're thankful. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Go watch some football and eat some turkey.
Enjoy your turkey. Enjoy your time with your family. This is what today is all about. Enjoy it.
Yes, sir. Take the day off.
Take care.
Later, guys.
Bye, Joe. Happy Thanksgiving.
Later, bro. You too, man.